101. 101. 101.
Disney over the many years have created many cartoons, but with Disney having a huge arsenal of cartoons, there's bound to be some that slip through the cracks and get neglected by the studio, that give it the green light in the first place. And 101 Dalmatian Street is one of them. I'm sure most of you don't even know the show exists. I personally found out about this show many years ago following different cartoon news areas, and I'm always willing to at least give a new show a chance. And the premiere came and went, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't airing on TV, because it was only airing in the UK and Ireland, when it premiered in 2019, with no sign of it airing over here in North America, at least on TV. That was mainly due to the fact around this time, Disney Plus was just starting up, and the following year it was dumped onto the service, with very little to no advertising that it was there at all. At least in my area. I did hear that it did get good advertising in the UK area, but it still didn't help the show. So after watching the show, I gotta say I was impressed. Most would write it off as a generic slice of life show, cashing in on the successful franchise, and in some ways it can be like that, but I'd say it's more than that. I think the team behind this show had a lot of heart and passion for the franchise, by using mainly the first movie as its source material, and have it be a continuation for it many years later. If you're not convinced yet, maybe I should give a synopsis of the show with some character breakdowns. And by some, I mean all the named puppy characters, at the very least.
We're a rowdy crowd here in Camden Town.
The show takes place in modern-day Camden Town, London, as a large family of dogs live together, going about their daily lives, learning different lessons, blah blah blah. Yet despite seeming generic, I really have a soft spot for shows like this. Characters learning lessons and becoming better selves in later episodes, to the point where the main characters have their own routine down, and there's even an episode where the two older siblings are challenged by their parents of how to take care of their younger pups, knowing there's always more than one way to getting things done.
What a rescue!
Sometimes you two do know what you're actually doing.
Wow, did you just hear a compliment?
Nah, snow in my ears.
Not only that, the show does have some interesting continuity with the kind of two main antagonists who I'll get into in a moment. First, I'd like to break down some of the characters, starting with the main two named Dylan and Dolly. Dylan is one of the oldest puppies, having to be one of two siblings that helps take care of the younger pups. He is usually very responsible, mainly being a stickler for the rules at most times, but can come around and letting loose when he needs to be. He also sees anything out of order and becomes anxious pretty fast, and can be a clean freak. At the end of the day, family is always the most important thing to him, and will always stand by them.
Yep. Just plain old Dylan.
Dolly is the exact opposite of Dylan, being the other oldest sibling, and unlike Dylan, has a more confident, athletic, and a more mischievous personality, and doesn't always take things seriously, but in the end pulls through, especially when it comes to her family.
Maybe I've just been working too much!
No, you're a pro and I'm proud.
And both siblings really come into their own by the end of the series. The other reoccurring siblings, although they are not as fleshed out as Dylan and Dolly, but are present and have enough individuality to distinguish them from being background puppies, such as Dizzy and Dee Dee, who are two pup twins always seen with each other, and always follow and admire Dolly, often helping her in her mischievous schemes, even if they never mean to do so. There's Dawkins, who is the genius of the family. He helps around the house by making many different kinds of devices for the family to use, and at times helps Dylan in different ways, and is usually seen as the next responsible pup when Dylan and Dolly aren't around.
Who's in charge of the pups? Dawkins. He'll be fine.
We have Diesel, whose main personality is digging, like a lot, and at times getting into situations because of how much he digs, but he also has the best sense of smell to help whenever they need him.
All I know is you gave me a big ball of stress in my tummy. And that only makes me wanna dig even deeper!
Stop! Ugh.
Dante, who is seen as the more darker and brooding one of the family, lacking a lot of positivity in any situation, and constantly being paranoid about anything and everything, being the most dramatic one of the bunch and liking spooky stuff, despite also being scared by them.
That's not the end of the world. Oh wait, it is.
You're a real fun roommate.
We got Deepak, who is the most chilled of the puppies, often doing different forms of meditation and yoga, although at times he does freak out when he gets stressed, and is actually often most relaxed when meditating with cats of all creatures.
I achieved my inner light, and it's cat-shaped!
There's the Triple D, also known as Destiny, Dallas, and Deja Vu. These triplets together help provide the family with money by being internet personalities and doing various advertising, with Destiny being the leader and the smartest of the three, who's always concerned about the world around them. Dallas, who's the most serious and demanding type of the three, and loves to be pampered. Deja Vu is the free-spirited of the three, who mainly follows her sisters, but is also never afraid to speak what's on her mind, being more carefree about things. We got Delgado, an energetic puppy capable of running the fastest thanks to his little doggy wheelchair. He's always in a hurry and speaks incredibly fast while maneuvering around the house.
Vroom, vroom, coming through. Sorry.
DJ, who's, you guessed it, is a DJ, and often plays music constantly, along with his headphones always on his head, and attempts to make instruments out of anything he can find. Da Vinci, who's an artist and speaks her mind in her paintings, as well as various street art and graffiti, who dreams big time for her art, often appearing with her paint on her.
I need to paint this.
The Dimitri Trio, another set of triplets who are all named Dimitri, as well as numbered 1 to 3. They tend to play pranks, which gets them in trouble a lot of the time, whether it's on other animals or humans that are around.
Kitty, kitty, kitty. Oi, oi, oi. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Oi, oi, oi.
Just ignore them.
And the last of the reoccurring individuals and the youngest pup, Dorothy, often gnawing things and often gets into interesting situations, mainly her going missing at times and showing up randomly. Now we move on to the parents, Delilah and Doug, who both constantly work to be able to afford the place they live in, with Delilah being a nurse dog and Doug being a firefighter dog. But despite not being around a lot doing their job, it doesn't mean that they don't do their best when they are around, always giving love and affection towards all the kids. Now we get to the antagonists slash villains of the show, starting with Hunter. From his first appearance, he comes off as a very friendly person who wanted nothing more than to hang out with the pups, but soon later reveals his sneaky and cruel ways, and develops a plan to get close to the puppies, hiding his intentions, essentially to capture the puppies, and pretty much goes crazy, acting like a dog at times. Although any plan of his is foiled in the end by both Dylan and Dolly. But he's not seen as just one note. He also has more of a sympathetic side to him as time goes on. This leads to the presence of Cruella de Vil. Turns out Hunter is her nephew, and Cruella both raised and trained him to have hatred towards the Dalmatians. With Cruella back, she became more vicious than ever, attempting to capture the dogs by any means necessary. And let me tell you, the little screen time she has, she makes it all count, because she is nothing but threatening to the dogs.
You two are too old for my code, but I'm thinking a matching luggage.
So what exactly happened with this series? It aired for only one season of 25 episodes of 47 segments. According to the wiki, as I mentioned, it was only really marketed and released on Disney Channel in the UK and Europe, it being put on Disney Plus in North America later on, which could have warranted another season if the numbers did well, but because no one to very little people, such as myself, knew about its existence at the time, it fell to the wayside, and the release in Europe clearly didn't help anything either, gathering only as high as 140k views, and as low as only 30k views, so it just became neglected by the studio in the end. And that's a real crying shame, cause I like how the first season handled the characters, both old and new. It had so much potential to do a lot more, and even another future series, if possible. But I won't hold my breath for anything of this franchise, at least in cartoon form. I really don't like it when shows have so much passion put into them, are barely given the chance to try and find their audience, cause most of the time, what the show or franchise finds their audience, the franchise is long ended or moved on to other things. A sad reality we live in for cartoons we love. 101 Dalmatian Street, I think, is a really good show that had potential to be great, with some good animation, voice acting, and story plots, but was cut short due to the lack of marketing and negligence of those who wouldn't give it the time of day. What did you think of it? Have you seen it? Will you see it now? I do highly encourage everyone who likes the original movie to seek it out, if possible. It's 100% worth the time, so check it out now on Disney+.
101 Dalmatian Street.